abortion and my thoughts on it. Recently, there was a doctor in Philadelphia, I believe it's Philadelphia, who is going to jail or about to go to jail for performing late-term abortions. Now, in accordance with the legal system, he was against the law, or from what I read, he was against the law. Late-term abortions are illegal there. But what I don't understand is, coming from an energy perspective and a creation perspective, energy is energy. Once energy is created, who determines when to get rid of that energy? Who really does that? And why is late-term abortion illegal when the morning after pill is legal? I don't understand. If you can get birth control pills, when you, okay, let me try to break that from my perspective so you guys understand. When you get birth control, let me back this up a bit. When a woman gets pregnant, the semen goes up the uterus, vaginal canal into the uterus, actually up into the fallopian tube. The egg and the sperm meet, and the sperm actually meets in the fallopian tube. That's where the baby is technically created, or zygote, or whatever medical term you feel comfortable using with. At that point, the creation process starts. That's where the egg and the sperm meet in the fallopian tubes. Now, what happens is the egg drops from the fallopian tubes into the uterus and connects to the lining of tissue and is nourished by this tissue, and the umbilical cord is formed, and the baby then grows. When you're on birth control does not stop. I'm not talking about spermicides. I'm not talking about the cat. I haven't done too much research on the ring, but I believe the ring does both. It kind of closes the cervix and also gives off a pheromone to kill the sperm, or at least confuse them. But I also believe it also gives off a chemical to stop that thin layer of blood forming. But as far as the ring goes, NovaRing, don't quote me on that. I haven't done full research on that one to see exactly how that one works. But when in most forms of birth control, the shot, the pill, and I believe the IUD stick, what it does is that it stops that thin layer of blood, that thin layer of tissue, from forming in the uterus of a woman. Now, as said, the sperm does not meet the egg in the uterus. It meets the egg in the fallopian tube. So that now when that egg drops, it has no lining to connect to. It will just fall right out the uterus. This is technically an abortion. That's why it's called birth control, because it's controlling the birth of the child when the child is born. It's born right then and there, and it has not had time to be nourished and protected until it's at a state where it can handle itself outside of the womb. So the egg drops out. Now, nobody has a problem with this, because and I understand most people don't have a problem with this. Most people really don't know how birth control happens. With that being said, the morning after pill. What the morning after pill does is, if you're close to your period, it tries to make break up that lining of tissue so that the egg cannot attach to it. This is why it says if you're already pregnant, it won't work, because then the tissue is too thick to break down. What it does is give you an overdose of all the hormones at once to force that lining of tissue out of your body, so that the already fertilized egg, zygote, whatever you want to call it, the creation process for a baby had already begun, but now it just has nowhere to stay for its incubation period, so it can nourish itself to be ready to live outside the womb. Now, with knowing this, in actuality, if you've ever been on birth control and you were sexually active, I don't even know what the term sexually active really means. That's a stupid term to me. But if you've ever been on the birth control pill or taken the morning after, and I'm totally honest, I've done both. So this is not coming from I'm judging point of view. This is just an informational point of view. You really don't know how many babies you have aborted. You really have no clue. You really don't. Especially if you've been on it for more than a year. And if you use the morning after pill numerous times, you really don't know. So with that being said, now we go to the abortion part where it involves what the doctor does. I don't really want to break down the whole process of how the baby is taken out of the body, only because as far as the abortion, I do, like at one time I was against it, except for certain situations, and I've had a I'm gonna call it abortion. I'm gonna call it abortion because part of the procedure that had to be done was to remove the fetus. So I had an abortion done. And I'm not going to go into the process of how it's actually done for those who are debating it, for those for personal reasons, not just because you had a lustful night. There's other reasons, putting other reasons that you may be thinking about it. So I'm not going to really go into that. But as far as the late-term abortion, what they do is they have to partially put you in labor. The baby has to, they have to partially put you in labor. This is the reason why there's time frames for an abortion is because when a baby first drops, it's at the bottom. And then as it grows, it comes up to the top. And then as it's ready to come back out, it goes back to the bottom. It drops down to the bottom. So in a late-term abortion, they have to get the baby to come down close enough for them to get it. It drops down to the bottom, and then they're able to remove the baby however they move the baby. I'm not going to go into the whole procedure of that either because everybody has their reasons, and I don't want my thing is not to influence you. My whole purpose of this video is not to influence somebody whether to have an abortion or not to have an abortion. It's to let's stop this holier than thou when abortion is okay, when the whole time no matter which system you take, it's still abortion. That's where I'm coming from with this video. Whether it's the pill, the morning after pill, or an actual clinic, it's still abortion. For or against it, that's your business, but it's still abortion. And we need to, I really feel as though we need to stop this foolishness of one's okay and one's not. A life is a life. Now, that's your business, whether you decide to continue the life, grow and nurture the life, or release the life from your body for whatever reason. I'm not judging you, that's your business. But the thing that I am sick of seeing is the holier than thou because of what time frame is done. Once you understand the process of birth control pills, the morning after pill, the only difference is whether a doctor's there or you do it yourself. That's pretty much the difference. But it's still releasing creation in this form of creating itself, sustaining itself, growing itself from a body. It's still, when you break it down to its simplest terms, it's still releasing a life force from your body. Period. So, Kai, move over so your brother has room. So when you understand it that way, it's dumb to judge one for doing it this way, but saying it's okay for another to do it this way. In my opinion. That's my opinion on the whole abortion process. I just personally believe it's stupid. Now, if the state says it's illegal, then of course medical boards have to go by the state or whatever. So then, yeah, it's illegal according to the state. But when we get into this whole philosophy where we're bringing in spirituality and religion in it, let's bring common sense. If we're going to bring spirituality, and religious views into it, then if we're still releasing a spirit form from the thing that depending on your religion, some people do say that the spirit doesn't come or the soul doesn't come into the body until after the baby is born. Some sisters start to spark a life. regardless, if you go by life force and that spark of life, that starts once the egg meets the sperm, because that's when something starts to grow, which means a life force in some form is there. That's just, to me, that should just be common sense. So the condemning of one, but the okaying of another, just doesn't make sense in my eyes. And I really just want to get the discussion going, just to talk about it, not to judge somebody who has done it, not to stop somebody who has doing it, but to truly understand how the morning after pill works, how birth control pill works. And I really don't want to go too deep about what the doctor does, and I understand my reason why, but to understand that when you really look at it from its simplest form, it is all the same. It's releasing a life force from your body. It's releasing energy from your body. It's releasing a creation from your body. Whether you have the right to do that, that's up for you to decide. But when it comes to judging others, let's look at it from all angles and stop just turn a blind eye to this. But let's condemn this. And that's pretty much my video on that. And with that, I'll say